See, if we know that you do not ask and you do not get, what is it that stops you from asking?
Fear.
See, I can ask this question to any audience anywhere in the world in any language, and I get one of the same three answers. I either get fear, I get rejection, or I get fear of rejection. Any one of those three answers. And let's play with this for a second together. Firstly, the rejection piece. Who in this room has been rejected by somebody they care about in the last 7 days? I don't know what it was. It might have been you wanted to have Chinese food and they said, are you kidding? It might have been that you wanted to be able to go here on your next vacation and they're like, you what? It might have been you wanted to have fun in the bedroom and they're like, not tonight, honey. I don't know what it was. You had one idea, they had a different idea, you got rejected, correct? And in our personal lives, no big deal. No big deal. No loss of momentum. Why do we accept rejection in our personal lives so freely, yet we take it so seriously and so personally in our professional lives? Why? I think I know why. I think it's because in our personal lives, we know they're not saying no to us. They're saying no to it. It's a very different thing, right? They're not saying no to us, they're saying no to it. In fact, we know they're not even saying no to it. They're saying no to it right now. See, I'm 100% certain that when my wife says no thank you to Chinese food, that me, spicy noodles, chicken and broccoli, we will be reunited. We will be together again. It's just not tonight. And I'm at peace with that. I can deal with that. That works. Who in this room has spent money on something in the last 3 years they wouldn't have dreamed of buying 10 years ago? Why? Because your circumstances have changed. Other people's circumstances are changing all the time. Your business is dependent upon changing circumstances. In fact, you are in the business of changing circumstances. All the time circumstances continue to change, you remain relevant. That also means that somebody who said no thank you to you last week could say let's go tomorrow. And that also means that hope is a strategy. It means optimism is helpful. It means believing that just because somebody said no doesn't mean that no remains no. That no just means not tonight, not this week, not right now. And once you understand that, something magic happens. You learn that you only lose when you give up. You only lose when you give up, which means I can never lose. Here's the fun thing about success. Success breeds success. However, that failure is part of the game. What if you can trick your brain into the fact that I never fail, I only ever succeed? Would that help with confidence? The trouble with the world of sales is we have to fail more than we succeed to win, yet success breeds success. Retrain your brain. You're just learning. Anybody saying no is saying not right now. They're actually saying not right now, thank you very much. They're quite polite about it. Particularly that's how I hear it. Just find it useful. No one's ever like, fuck you. They're just not ready right now. Save pace, stay front of mind. Who in this room is in the real estate industry and is working a 10-year pipeline? If you want to win right now, that's what I'm doing. I'd be thinking today, the people in my database, who wants to move in 2029? Who's moving in 2032? Like if you want to be in this business 7, 10, 15 years, stop working 30, 60, 90-day cycles. Work 10-year patterns. And I promise you this, that if you are in the business of buying leads, you will lose. So make a promise to me. Please, please, pretty please, do not pay for leads in 2025.
Let's go.
That you could have earned today. I got a killer stat out of an event the other day. Did you know that Zillow sold 30 million leads for homes? Yet there were only 6 million homes sold. Who's the idiot? This is big, right? And I think it's dependent upon you folks realizing that the way you win is that you get to the conversation earlier. You already own the asset, the person. The lead isn't the asset, the person is the asset. And you're going to get this by being curious about their circumstances, empathetic about what's important to them, and then have the courage to ask them to make the next step. It is that easy and that hard. So we dealt with the rejection piece, yes? What about fear? Is fear real, yes or no? What do we think? Is fear real? Oh, I've seen some people try and convince us that fear's not real. This one beats me. They're like, no, fear's not real. And they put it up on a flip chart. And it's like it's an F and an E and an A and an R. And I know some of you are thinking, what's a flip chart? Chris used one. We see TikTokers do this as well, right? F, E, A, R. And they say, you know what all fear is? It's false evidence appearing real. I must have seen this a gazillion times in my career. Every time I see it, I'm like, dang, that's cute. Just imagine being scared for a second, like legit scared, and then consider how does that advice help you? It's just a cute idea, right? It's not actually good advice. So let's just look at some facts. Who in this room is remarkably good at something that once upon a time they were scared to do? If that is true, what else must be true is that fear is the fertilizer of growth. That has to be true. Because if you only got to be good at something because once upon a time you were scared to do it, fear was the fertilizer of the growth. So if you ain't scared, you ain't growing, and you folks would like to grow, correct? And you know what I see in this industry when faced with fear? I don't see false evidence appearing real. You know what I see right now? I see F everything and run. I see, how about I just not do this? How about I go hide? I mean, doom scrolling. Look, if I just dance like this and point at things, that's going to get me paid more money. Not against just sexy TikTok videos. Get at it. Just do the basics to a high standard consistently too. Anybody like to see some of these words at work? It's the number one reason we don't get what we want in life is because we're fearful of rejection. What if I could introduce you to a few sequences of words that would allow you to ask just about anybody, just about anything, and it be completely rejection-free? That would help, right? See, if I wanted this young man here to consider an idea of mine, I wouldn't ask you to consider my idea. What I'd do is I'd preface my ask with a simple sequence of words. I'd preface my ask with the words, I'm not sure if it's for you. See, if I preface an ask with the words, I'm not sure if it's for you, then what does the little voice do? It actually does two things. If we take it in full go slow, what the little voice does is it says, I will be the judge of that. The second thing it does is curiosity is piqued. You naturally want to lean in, and you're like, what is it? What is it? Tell me some more. In this tiny example, though, there's a three-letter word on the end, the word but. And the word but is often seen as something that just negates what was said prior. The word but can be used, should be used. However, just like Uncle Ben or Peter Parker first said, they said with great power comes great responsibility. The same is true with how we use the word but. See, what the word but actually does is it doesn't just negate what was said prior, it shifts the focus to next. Ever had somebody say things to you in a past career where they're like, I know you're trying your best here right now and that you're bringing all the experience from your last role and you're enthusiastically trying to be able to make a change, but what do you remember? And then everything that follows the but. See, if I wanted somebody to consider an idea of mine, I'd say, I'm not sure if it's for you, but, and then insert the idea. I mean, realtors in the room, how easy would it be to say to somebody, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I know you're not looking for a house right now, and I wondered if you'd like to understand how we might be able to help you long term. Easy to do? Easy not to do? Lenders in the room could reach out to a real estate agent and say, look, I'm not sure if it's for you, but with all the change that's going on in the world right now, I thought it might be helpful for you to understand some of the new products we've got coming to market. I mean, you might even be able to use this to a buddy and say, I'm not sure if it's for you, but I really fancy going to the game at the weekend and wondered if you'd consider joining me. Does this feel pushy or pulley? If you want to put this to practice, use one of the most ultimate underutilized communication methods that exist today. Who in this room is still calling prospects, like making dials? Jeez. We live in a world where people don't really answer their phone. You know that, right? We live in a world where people will do everything they possibly can to not answer their phone. My phone is on Do Not Disturb. You cannot call me, period. I haven't listened to a voicemail in 6 years. No joke. Not listened to a voicemail. If it's important enough, somebody will call me back enough. Yet one means of communication that the world stops for is text message. The world stops for a text message. I mean, some of you here right now will get a text on your phone and you'll be like, that could be like for me. And you feel like you have to read it. Like voicemails don't get listened to. Calls get ignored. Emails go to spam. Hit delete. Every text message gets read. Doesn't necessarily get responded to. If I wanted to prospect like a pro right now, I'd be getting calls with permission. I'd only ever speak to somebody that was ready to be able to speak to me. I'd be using text message to set up calls left, right, and center. Who in this room is an early person to meetings? Take a look around at everybody else and just know that people without their hands up right now, we all hate you. Like it really does grate on us a little. So if you could change it, try. But if you're an early person, how could you use the time pre-appointment more effectively to prospect by sending, I'm not sure if it's for you, but text messages? That'd be easy, right? 6 minutes before walking into your appointment, just look into your phone. Hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but with all the changes that happen in the real estate industry right now, I thought it might be a good time for us to connect and grab a chat, ? Send 6 of those messages, go in, crush your appointment, come out your appointment, you're like, woohoo, ball in play. Conversation later on today that somebody's expecting, no more sneak attacks. When you are calling people with sneak attacks, it's the equivalent of somebody coming to you in the office and saying, have you got a minute? What do you say? But even when you say yes, you meant no. You didn't have the time. You weren't ready to have the conversation. So some of you are trying to have the right conversation with your prospect at the wrong time. So what you're doing is you're making touch point, 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 and you're bruising your prospects. You're legit bruising your prospects because you took an opportunity to have a meaningful conversation and you exchanged it for a touch point. Slow the process down, you'll speed the outcome up. I promise you. And this should give you permission to be more human. Permission to meet people where they're at. And the greatest prospects right now are the people looking to make moves in 25, 26, 27, 28, and nobody else is talking to them. You wait till somebody's been on what I've learned to call a Merlot-induced Zillow porn session at like 10 p.m. at night and click a button and you're like, that's how I get my leads. You realize how stupid that is? You already have people in your database that you're underserving, that you're dripping all over, thinking it's relevant. We can do better, yes? Yes. We can do better. Here's another rejection-free opening formula, or another sequence of words you can put into practice. I need to check some basic brain science first. Who in this room sees themselves as open-minded? Take a look around. That's somewhere near everybody. I'm pretty sure the other hands would not have raised regardless of what I offer. Cash, cookies, cake. They're like, nope, not me. I don't raise my hands. I get it. That's fine. You do you. But the whole world likes to see themselves as open-minded. I repeat, they like to see themselves as open-minded. It doesn't mean they are open-minded. They just like to see themselves as such. How do we use that fact to our advantage? Well, what we do is we remember it's the person who's asking the questions that controls the conversation. We take that fact, we put it to that principle, and we build open-minded questions. Like, how open-minded would you be to learning the real difference that a drop in interest rates would make to your payment? I mean, how open-minded would you be to understanding all of the differences that exist if you were to work with us as opposed to ABC? I mean, how open-minded would you be to utilizing the how open-minded frame more often? This stuff easy to do? Easy not to do? The goal is to be pulley and not pushy. I'm hoping that you can see some micro changes of words can make massive differences.